All right, here we go. I'm going to do three things to refurbish this computer. I'm going to do a power supply swap, hard drive swap to complete it, and clean out the computer. The reason I'm doing this is I had front panel hard drives that just power down and whatnot. So I think there's not enough power coming off the board, down the big cable, and up to the front. But then not enough power to power a large hard drive. So I think the power supply is going. So I'm going to, well, let's explain probably why the power supply is going. What happens is, forever now, there's been a case of bad capacitors ending up in the market. Good companies end up buying bad capacitors. And they usually shop around different sizes. They'll get different prices from different companies. But a lot of people got stuck with bad capacitors. This one has sealed can capacitors, as you can see right here. And the capacitors help control the voltages to the CPU. So that's what happens is you get imagine this as a capacitor. It's a can. It has, let's say, like a rolled up toilet paper inside of it. And then it has an electrolyte that's injected in there. And so it has an electrolyte solution and a toilet paper roll type. That's what it looks like and basically what it is. One of two things happens. Either the electrolyte is not formulated correctly, or for some reason, or they used a bad bottom and it starts leaking or air gets in. And what happens is on capacitors on the top there's an X, and with that X is indentation into the metal. That's where the metal would give. Usually it's flat, not like this aluminum can. It's supposed to be super flat. But when they go out, they'll start doming right where the X is, right where the weak points that they punched into it. And as soon as the capacitor starts doming, it's done. It's cooked inside. Or worse yet, on the bottom, they'll push out the bottom, and there'll be like brown crap coming out, which is the electrolyte, or white. And if it comes out the bottom, it'll corrode the motherboard and pretty much ruin the computer. If it comes out the top, sometimes I've seen them bulge all the way out and then it starts to split and just bubble out of the top. And you'll see that. It'll be pretty obvious. You got to check all of them, small and large capacitors. If you find one that does it, then you have to look for all the same brands that are on there because all of them are going to do it. Then you have to replace all of them. Big pain in the ass. Probably not worth doing. So before I go ahead and refurbish this computer, I'm going to check the capacitors. Capacitors are all good. These are the Japanese ones. This motherboard's approximately 5 years old, built up, a cheap system. It's been on for basically 8 months, 10 months in a I guess a clean environment with a HEPA filter running. But as you can see, that doesn't really matter much because it all ends up in here because this thing actually breathes through all the air. So it gets me to the next point. I want to make sure it's breathing correctly, but I already know this because I assembled it. But I like to have a cross-flow ventilation from the front going out the back. The reason I let the power supply decide that because the power supply wants to vent out the back. And we can check this. There's a vent on the top, and you can see it holds the paper in on the back and blows. So that's the airflow on the power supply. So I don't want fresh air coming in here and going through the power supply. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But I like the cross-flow theory. So we know this fan's going out. You don't want to stick a piece of paper and get it sucked in, but that one's blowing outwards. So the front fan is blowing inwards, and so all your fresh air is coming in, depositing dust and dirt and skin and whatever else, and eventually starts to cool down the CPU, which, as you can see, is impacted with dust and lint and dirt, and then goes out the power supply and then goes out the back of the fan. It also supplies to the video card. So let's take those measurements. Let's see what measurements. I've been having the computer running for a while. So we got memory temperature. I'm taking it at the bottom. It's the hottest point on there. It looks like between 100 and 102, so we'll call that 101. The CPU hottest point I noticed is right in here. Very cool. Cool 88. Power supply, or the CPU power components. They range in 90s, close to the power input, and 80s, so 80s, 90s. The chipset here looks like about 87. 87 at the hot. And the other chipset, I call that one about a 95. And power supply exit. So we get some metal on the outside, 76. So not bad on temperature-wise. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do a screenshot of the temperatures that I've been monitoring on Windows 10 while looping a video. I'm going to remove the drive, take it out, I'm going to blow it out, and then we're going to yank the power supply, yank the old spinning hard drive. We're going to mount the Evo with the least amount of effort and power it up. Hopefully everything works. All right, here we go. Paying particular attention to the dust on the forward leading edge of the fan blade. And then we're gonna try to blow in from the fans so it blows the crap out. Hopefully. Here we go.
Oh, Morty, take a deep breath. Breathe that fresh air in, Morty. You smell that? That's the smell of adventure, Morty. That's the smell of a whole different evolutionary timeline. All right, Rick, look, how much longer is this going to be? Shouldn't I be back at school by now? joking me? I mean, look at all the crazy crap surrounding us. Look at that thing right there. What the hell is that thing? You think you're gonna see that kind of thing at school? Look at it just lumbering around. It defies all logic, that thing.
Yeah, Rick, I get it. We're surrounded.